Raven fans and Oriole fans. So a big week for both. Thank you for joining us here on Ravery Sports Podcast, our weekly podcast, the Baltimore Sports Podcast. So we go over Baltimore sports on this podcast. Thank you for joining us, no matter how you're joining us. If you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, or Twitter, thank you. Podcast is available on all of those platforms every week, our full podcast. Thank you very much for joining us today. Business, also, we're going to talk about this if you've been watching. Genesis Notary Services /Facebook.com. Yes. So if you want to live in the Shenandoah Valley area, we will come right out and service your notary needs. Happy to go ahead and do it. ravorisports@gmail.com if you are interested in any of our Ravens merchandise. Maybe some of you still want Lamar Jackson jerseys, maybe not. You can go ahead there, or on our Ravery Sports Facebook page as well. You can go ahead and get it there. And again, coming soon, probably very soon too. We'll go ahead and announce that again, the start of ravorisports.com, our website. All right. Thank you very much for joining us as well. Well, we had a big week this week in terms of the Ravens. Almost this week. We're to the point now in the offseason, I was thinking like this week, well, we'll just do depth chart. We'll kind of go over Lamar has apparently officially asked for a trade from the Ravens. He has done that right before free agency started, apparently on March 2nd, and he went out and sent out a tweet right before John Harbaugh goes out and the presser. And he goes out and asks for a trade and he announces it. Harbaugh sits there during the presser, says what he said the whole time. We love Lamar Jackson. He's our guy. I'm looking forward to him being our quarterback. The business will get work. He said the same thing to his credit. Even in that situation, he's got it down pat. He knows what to say. He says the same thing every time. So apparently this is out now in public. Lamar is out here asking for a trade. Several rumors are out there for him. Colts, apparently, rumor is that Colts owner Jim Irsay flew to Baltimore on a private jet. That is actually not a rumor. That is confirmed. We don't know, but we don't know what he was doing here. I mean, he could have been doing anything. But, I mean, you would think, it is to talk to Lamar Jackson or his camp. So that's correct. Also, two rumors this week, New England is maybe interested in him. Robert Kraft talked about it. Mick Mill, the rapper, for some reason, is in there. Commanders, Falcons, a lot of teams have been rumored to talk to them as well. And coincidentally, Falcons named Desmond Ridder their starting quarterback this week. Everybody's been asked about it. As far as what's going on with Lamar. So what's next for the Baltimore Ravens? Okay. I want to comment on this first, what I've seen. I mentioned this a few weeks ago when I did the Lamar Jackson 4 strikes, but there seem to be two camps of Raven fans here. There are Raven fans I've seen that are definitely wanting him to sign. Definitely wanting him to go ahead and sign with the Ravens. Definitely think the Ravens are being unreasonable. Definitely think that. There's another camp I've seen they're allowed that's saying they don't want this guy anymore. This guy is causing too many problems. You know, we love Eric DeCosta. We love Steve Bisciotti. We love John Harbaugh, the franchise. We don't need this guy, et cetera, et cetera. So we're definitely seeing, in my opinion, two different camps of fans in this. So what happens? Right now, nothing. Lamar has requested a trade for the Ravens. So he is waiting apparently for it to be traded. He sent out the tweet saying he's done with the team, that he's not going to be playing for Baltimore anymore. The Ravens right now don't have to do anything. I think right now, I don't think you'll see anything this week. I mean, you never know in this whole thing. My goodness. This has gone on for a long time. But you never know what's going to happen here. So I don't think anything happens right now. Draft would be the earliest. I'm thinking not even on the draft where teams are going to be doing anything. There will be draft compensation, I'm assuming. The Ravens are in a very interesting situation here. I put up the draft. What's next for the Ravens? I don't think that's been discussed at all. And I'm talking to you fans especially that are so anxious to get rid of this guy or don't think this guy is being reasonable. What do you want to do with quarterback? Just let that marinate. Like this, I'm Martin Lord. Omar, let it marinate. What do you want to have happen here? You want to get rid of Lamar Jackson and then do what? So let's say I think the Colts, best case scenario team, because they have the number 4 pick in this year's draft. Best thing to have. I think that's the team that would be interested with the highest pick. So you get the Colts. The best thing that happens there is you get the Colts number 4 pick, which by the way is the toughest team to deal with if you're trying to make a trade. The Indianapolis Colts, Chris Ballard, is very hard to do. But let's pretend for a second you get the number 4 pick. So then what? So you're going to be in the division with Deshaun Watson, Kenny Pickett, second-year guy emerging, not a star yet, and Joe Burrow, who is a superstar quarterback. And you're going to send out Will Levis and Anthony Richardson to go beat them. Or Tyler Huntley. Okay. And by the way, with no receiver. You think it was tough to get receivers before? Well, they don't want to come here and play with them. Okay. They don't want to come here and play with no quarterback. They don't want to come here and play with and finding a receiver this offseason. You're already sick. I can guarantee you, every receiver they've tried to look at has told me that. Everyone. Nelson Aguilar signed here, I think, probably because there wasn't a lot of teams interested in him. Not that he couldn't help, not that he can't help the Ravens, but I can almost guarantee if he had 4th, he wouldn't have signed here. Why would he do that? The first question he probably asks, and everybody else asks, is where are we at with Lamar Jackson? What's going on? The OC could search, same thing. Who's going to be your quarterback? And the Ravens don't know right now. I want to say this about the Ravens. There's a lot of talk about who's lying here, who's telling the truth, who's being disingenuous. I think both sides are being a tad disingenuous. That's business in general, okay? I mean, Stephen A. Smith made an outstanding point to me. At least with me, it made sense. Every time John Harbaugh goes out there and Eric DeCosta go out there, they say same thing. We love Lamar. He's our quarterback. I can't wait to work with him. He's outstanding. I'm looking forward to having him on our team. I think he's great, etc. Okay? He says same thing every single time. Well, if he's so great, why isn't the deal done? If he's so great, why can't you give him the money? Exactly. Why is this taking 2 years to go ahead and get this done? Why does he keep popping off on social media saying not the same thing you said? With the Ravens, I believe they want to sign Lamar Jackson. But I don't think they want to pay him what he's asking for. So you don't want to sign him. They can't. Both things always can't be true sometimes. let's take Lamar's side. Lamar keeps saying, he keeps popping off on social media. He doesn't say a whole lot, but he's saying things on social media and blah, 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 blah. He said that the Ken Francis, a guy associated with him, let me explain that. There was a guy named Ken Francis, been reported that he's been calling teams on behalf of Lamar, trying to go ahead and get a contract with various teams. And he told teams that he's done with the Ravens. Okay? Now, Lamar knows that he can't do that. Lamar knows that if he's not a certified NFLPA agent, the union has to certify agents for the guys to work. Because I know there is a process to that, becoming an agent. The union does that. They don't just let anybody do it. But we know for a fact that he's associated with this guy. And he goes out and he flames up Mike Florio and Chris Sims saying, okay, well, nobody's negotiating for him. Yeah, because they can't. Nobody can negotiate for him because he's not a certified agent. Now, I don't think that was his intent. I'm going to give him some credit. He just wants to put that out there. He knows they're not going to talk to him, but he's trying to get the motor running. That's just my opinion of it. Where he knows they can't talk to him, but hey, somebody's calling. Maybe there's interest. Maybe if nobody's called, that's what you do sometimes. You try and drum up interest. So Lamar doesn't say much to media. Doesn't say much to a lot of people. He likes to control his own narrative. Be on social media, things like that. Rumor is he didn't even return DeCosta's calls for the longest time. So it's not always on both sides of negotiation. There's some contention. But that's fine. That's any coordination. That's anything in business. And that's exactly what this is, a business. I do believe a lot of Raven fans, I do want to say, have not thought through, if you're on that side, what do you think happens this season without Lamar Jackson? Do you honestly believe that you're gonna go 12-3 and 12-5 in this division? I think it's for 17. 12-5 and win this division, and with Tyler Huntley as your quarterback, or Will Levis as your quarterback, or Hayden Hooker as your, what's the matter with y'all? What's the matter? I would say this, and I've seen this from national media, local media. Local media, that makes sense. Ravens get a lot of rope. They're getting a lot of slack. There's a lot of teams. There's no way they would get away. If this was the Bengals, there'd be no way they'd be able to get away. If this was Joe Burrow, and no chance of that. The Ravens are getting a lot of slack here. This guy is 26 years old, prime of his career, and they're letting him go over. I don't know what the dollar figure was. And I'm thinking it's not even. I'm thinking we're talking about, not maybe to most people, but in terms of NFL quarterbacks, like we're talking about what, $50 million. I mean, I don't think two things. I don't think they moved their offer past the 133 guaranteed. I believe that. Lamar has repeated that. I haven't seen anything reported saying there was more money given to this offer. What they've done is they've tried to work around the same deal. So it's, if you want the fully guaranteed, it was reported 3 years, 133 fully guaranteed. He wants like a 6 or 7 year deal with more guarantees, and they haven't moved off of that. So what they've done is, okay, well, let's make it 133 fully guaranteed over 5 years, I think it was. So they kind of tried to work the same deal, and they haven't raised their offer at all. So that's kind of weird. They say you want to sign us with that, but you won't move your offer in. Same with Lamar. You want to go ahead and sign it? Be a little bit more active in the process. Work with the, sit there and, rumor he's not returning calls. You didn't do this. They got to see him, stuff like that. If you want to get it done, go get it done. So what's next for the Ravens? I think he sits out. I think that's the thing that's going to happen. I don't see any way he plays on a franchise tag. Why would he? Why would he do that? He doesn't have a contract. He doesn't have to show up to OTAs. He doesn't have to do any of that stuff. He doesn't have to sign it. So they can go ahead and sit out. I think what's going to happen is sit out if they can't find a trade. I do think he's not going to play for the Ravens anymore. And I think the Ravens will try and find a trade. What Lamar is doing is he's trying to force their hand some kind of way, because the Ravens are just moving slow with everything as far as dealing. They won't raise the offer. They won't do this. They won't trade, and they won't do something. So he's trying to what he's doing is he's trying to just push the ball up the field a little bit. He's trying to go ahead and use football term, trying to get him to do anything to go ahead and get this run. I believe, even though he said that, I think he would sign back with the Ravens if they were to give him the offer that he wanted. They're not going to do it. Nothing indicates me. I think that's the biggest stalemate here. The Ravens are not going to change their offer from what I've seen. And so here we are. And this is why this is taking forever. He wants more money. Ravens say, yes, we love you. We want to sign you. We're not going to give you more. This is all we're going to give you. And is there another team that's going to do that? Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. I think there absolutely is a team. The draft pick compensation is going to get tricky. Teams, the Ravens probably would want more, though, than most teams have. Most of the teams in the running anyway. I would think, like you say, on New England. Like, what would you give in New England? A mid one, maybe a 2, something like that. Maybe a 1. They're not. The Ravens are going to want more than that. So you want the Ravens? They've gotten a lot of slack here. I don't think people realize the kind of the mess they're making. They are, and here's the other thing too. They get a lot of credit for player development and all, and they should, especially on defense. They found tremendous players on defense, etc. Offense, wide receiver and quarterback, you have not. They have not. This is not a franchise that's done great with quarterbacks. Lamar, I think, in one of the first videos I ever did, was saying how Lamar is the best quarterback in the franchise history. You've had Lamar and you've had Joe Flacco, and you've had a lot of misses. And most of that is Brian Billick era, but Scott Mitchell and Stoney Case. And Trent Dilfer kind of worked out for like a year. You had Tony Banks and Jim Harbaugh's. A lot. They've had a lot of misses. Even Steve McNair. At the very end of his career. And so for you out there, for you fans, I think that you're just going to go ahead and, hey man, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take Tyler Huntley and we're going to win. I don't see that at all. And we'll do the tiers video. We may do the tiers video this week, but that's the thing that I want you fans out there to start thinking about. What happens? For those of you that don't want Lamar here, you're gonna get what you want here. And then you'll be like, when you can't push the ball down the field because you don't have receivers, possibly you don't have quarterback, and you can't, and you get outgunned. You thought you were getting outgunned. And again, maybe one of these young quarterbacks, you never know, in the draft that you're going to get. You're certainly not. It's certainly not going to be Bryce Young or Stroud who's going to start. I mean, you're looking at Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, or worse as a rookie. Or my guess is Tyler Huntley will start at the beginning if there's no Lamar Jackson. So I think that's the most likely. So we will see what's next for the Baltimore Ravens. Hopefully this will come to resolve soon. But Lamar has officially asked for a trade from the Baltimore Ravens. We'll see. I hope you get what you want if you don't want it. Let's talk about this inexplicable Final Four. We have the nice seed, Florida Atlantic University, that is going against the San Diego State Aztecs, 31-6. San Diego State. I'm sorry, let's talk Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic, Dusty May, 46 years old, used to play. I remember him as a player, about my age, at the University of Indiana. Best record in all the college basketball right now, as far as all the teams left in the Final Four. Main scorer is Matt Bradley, guard from San Diego State, 12.5 points a game. Scoring averages I spread around real good on this game. Okay, I could see like that old Indiana style that they played with San Diego State, lots of ball movement, etc. Perfect for today's game. Brian Ducher is the head coach of the San Diego State Aztecs, 63 years old. And I'm sorry, well, Matt Bradley was San Diego State. We don't know a lot about these teams. John L. Davis is at Florida Atlantic. He used to coach. He is their leading scorer, 12.5 points a game. Bradley again. 12.5. San Diego State under Brian Ducher is the head coach for them. All right, let's go. Let's pull that graphic up. There you go. All right. Next game. Here's a team we do recognize. We got the UConn out of the Big East. UConn Huskies, 29-8 against Miami, 29-7. Danny Hurley is the head coach for the Huskies. His brother is Bobby Hurley, former Great Duke player. Both of these guys have become really good head coaches. Done a good job. UConn was a tough situation to be in after Jim Calhoun left. They had some issues at head coach, even though after they won the title. So they're kind of the one team we all recognize here. So UConn 17.5 points a game forward. So they're going to go ahead and play the Hurricanes of Miami. That's still same Hurricanes of Miami. Isaiah Wong, highest leading scorer left in the tournament, 16.2 points a game for him. Jim Larrañaga, here's a guy we know, coached at George Mason years ago and was the head coach of George Mason the only time they went to the Final Four. They went down for a few years after that, and they were able to build their way back up in 2011, right before, and then he goes press enough to get the job at the University of Miami. So there you go, the 14 that are going to be in the Final Four. I don't know a ton about these teams. For the most part this year, I've watched Big Ten, so I did not watch. Florida Atlantic, like almost none. Like none at all. I think maybe I watched a UConn game. So here I'm gonna talk about state of college basketball. First of all, this is great and bad at the same time. To have teams like that are unknown, that we don't know a lot about win is one of the bigger reasons why you watch the tournament. Because you never know who's going to be there. The big shock for me was Purdue losing to Fairleigh Dickinson. Here's a team that was the biggest, tallest guy in the whole tournament against the shortest team, and they get knocked out. So that's the great part of the NCAA tournament. When you have a team like that win and get to the next round, that's great. Here's the bad part. Then the next round comes and you don't know who's doing what to who. So yeah, again, it's always cool though. But historically, those teams got knocked out after a while. All right, now it's time for Duke to take over. Now it's time for Kentucky to take over. Now it's time for back in the day, Georgetown to take or whatever it was. It's not the case of college basketball. College basketball right now is you don't know who's on what team. I really had to work hard to really find out who's on these teams nowadays. Years ago, it was easy enough, to find out who's on what team. You were fans of Christian Laettner and Grant Hill, and speaking of all the great Maryland players, Juan Dixon, Len Bias, Steve Franchise, Walt Williams. I used to love to watch Walt Williams. Joe Smith. You were fans before they actually got to the next level. Now it's just a bunch of guys you don't know unless you're really, really following the team. So I think we're going to have a good Final Four. Congratulations to all 4 of these teams that are here. Who wins? I guess I pick UConn because they are the biggest team in the biggest school. Again, Florida Atlantic, never been there. San Diego State. Don't even. I think they had Steve. I remember they had Steve Fisher as their coach, who took the team to the Final Four. But we'll see when we get there. Games are on Saturday, and we will go ahead and get that squared away for you. When we watched again, we will go ahead and go over the final game next week in analysis and do a little deeper analysis once we find out a little bit more about these 4 teams that are playing for the national championship. Houston, Texas. Let's talk a little baseball here on our podcast. So we're going to ask like 5 questions here about the season that is starting today, if you're watching this Oriole game today. So we're going to go over the Orioles as well today. Will the shift reduce batting averages in Major League Baseball? Will the shift restriction reduce batting averages? I know this. I don't know if it is or not. I'm sick. I'm so glad they did something about these ridiculous shifts in baseball. It was ridiculous. You got guys at the plate. They got the third baseman daggone there on the second base side. Second baseman in between. It just got ridiculous. It really did. So I'm glad that they're at least the game isn't. And I don't want to sound too Bob Costas, just like romanticizing it, but like everything, the game isn't supposed to be played like that. The game is supposed to be played like that. The shortstop is supposed to be standing in between the second baseman and the third baseman. You know, the second baseman that can slide over in the first. You know, you're not supposed to have 4 guys. You know, so I'm glad they did something about that. I think for certain hitters it'll help if you're a good slap hitter. And see, that's the thing with the shift. I don't think it doesn't hurt anybody but the weaker hitters. I don't think like the really good contact hitters that can hit the ball and spread the ball around all fields. They didn't do that. They didn't do that stupid shit. But the guys that like only pull one way or the power hit or something like that, then they did those crazy shifts. So I don't think it'll do much. I mean, as far as for them, I think it'll hurt the poor hitters. And I just got tired of seeing it. Personally, I got tired of seeing those ridiculous shifts in games. Who will lead the MLB in home runs in 2023? I think the easy answer, obviously, is Aaron Judge after what he did last year, hitting all those home runs. My guess is he won't do that again. No offense to him. My 2 votes, I would say probably Ohtani, the Angels, the outstanding player for them, Shohei Ohtani, and Pete Alonso for the Mets. I really like Pete Alonso. He is a fantastic power hitter. I think even being in New York, he's overlooked. Tremendous power, tremendous swing, good contact for a big guy too. Like sometimes big guys, they always want to swing for the fences. Makes great contact as well. So I like him. I think one of those 2 will go ahead and lead the MLB in home runs. Who gets the most saves in MLB? The easy answer. Well, he got hurt in the World Baseball Classic. I think Edwin Diaz, was going to take his official place if he hadn't already. If $20 million didn't do it already, as the best closer in all of MLB. That's not going to happen because he got hurt. Emmanuel Clase for the Cleveland Indians. I think he's fantastic. I think his team is really good, and I think he's really good. I think he was probably one of the biggest reasons why they were there. They're going to get a lot of wins. And what helps you get a lot of saves as well is that a team also that doesn't bludgeon you to death. Like, if that makes sense. Like, a team that's not, they're going to win close games in Cleveland. They're not going to win. They're not going to necessarily do it. I think Felix Batista has a shot at it, too. I think that applies to him, too. I think he had an injury. Can he keep him healthy all year? That's the thing. Can he keep him healthy all year? I think he has a shot at getting the most saves. I think the Orioles aren't going to score. Their lineup, even though it's better than it was a few years ago. I mean, it's not the Padres or Dodgers or anything like that. So I think that's possible that he can lead the league in saves. No question. Which team will win 100 games? Which teams will lose more than 100 games? Who wins more than 100? I think the Braves and the Padres are right about at 100 games, 100 victories. The Braves for sure, I think, are going to win 100 games. I don't see any flaw in their team at all. I think their lineup is first rate. I think their rotation is outstanding. I think their pitching, and they always seem to do well in the bullpen. I think they're top shelf. The Padres are as well. They're going to beat a lot of teams in the National League. I think there's pretty good separation with them teams in the National League, except for in the division. I don't think anybody else does in the National League. I think those are the only teams that are at the 100 win mark. Because that's a lot. 100 wins is a lot. Even when you win a division, maybe you get about 90. You're getting like 100 wins. That's a lot. In the American League, I'm not sure anybody gets there. I think the Astros have the best chance. I think they'll have the best record in the American League. I think the American League, it'll be tougher to do. I think there's better teams in the American League. I think it'll be harder for anybody to win 100 games. I think the Astros have the best shot. Yankees, I don't see them winning 100 games. They're the next best team, but I don't see them winning 100 games. The division is way too difficult, and they're not quite as good depth-wise to win 100 games. I could see like a Judge injury or something like that, where they don't win 100 games. Where I think the Astros have the depth all the way around. Like, they use a guy or two. Like, that also prevents you winning 100 games. Lose 100 games. There's a question. Lose 100 games. Oakland's going to lose 100 games. Oakland's awful. I feel bad for those fans, too, like, that are following the team. God bless you if you're still following the A's and you still want to have a competitive team. God bless you. The management there is totally checked out. They're not interested at all in fielding a competitive team. They're not interested. They're spending the payrolls ridiculous. Them and the Orioles only the Orioles, I think, have a lower payroll than them. So God bless you if you're still A's fan. Nothing's going to change there in Oakland until they actually get new ownership or move. That's it. That stadium, they can't make any money in the stadium, and that's what's affecting the team and ownership, and they're just giving up on trying to do anything. So hey, we're going to lose money. Hey, we're just going to make some money here and see how it plays out. Which prospects are coming later in 2023 for the Orioles? Well, it looks like later is going to be Grayson Rodriguez, too, who apparently is not going to be on the opening day roster. So Grayson is going to start AAA in Norfolk. That smells of service time restrictions, in my opinion. That doesn't smell right to me. Jim Palmer came out. I saw a tweet from Jim Palmer. Well, he had a chance to pitch his way in. His last two starts, he was shit. And I'm only going by stats because obviously Massa didn't show a lot of games. But it smells of service time because he was better than Bradish. And he wasn't that much different than Tyler Wells, who gets the job. So that kind of smells of – that's why it smells of service time. He wasn't perfect, but I don't know why you want to start him at AAA. That's what that is. DL Hall, we're going to be still waiting because he's still at AAA. That one I think was more for sure For some reason, and somebody, again, please help me, why Bradish is immune to this. What they're seeing with Kyle Bradish, where he was worse than Grayson, according to, so I don't, help me out. why he's that is. The fully answer the question, because those are obvious, I think. I'm shocked that neither one of those is in the rotation to start. The fully answer the question, who comes later this year? Pretty sure we'll see Colton Cowser this year, my guy. In AAA, I think he's good. I think Heston Kjerstad will make it major at some point. I don't think that'll be right at the scene. I think both of those guys will be August-ish. After the All-Star break, we'll see injuries, things like that. If they continue to play well at AAA, they're not going to stay there all year. We'll see. I think like some other prospects like Kobe Mayo and Jackson is further off. I don't think we'll not necessarily see them this year. All right, there you go. All right, so our larger MLB content there. So go ahead and follow that as well. It's opening day. Yes, it is. So the wait is over. We are going to have baseball games here on today. Orioles opening up in Fenway Park against the Boston Red Sox, 2:00 in the afternoon. So pretty much the first time we're airing the stream, that'd be right after this is over, 2:00. So we're going to have Red Sox and we're going to have the Orioles. It looks like Kyle Gibson will be getting the start for the Orioles. Dean Kramer is going to pitch in the second game for the Orioles. And Cole Irvin is going to go ahead and pitch in game 3 for that right now. No real problem with that. I think that's probably right as far as those are your top 3 guys. That will go ahead and get that squared away. Looks like Corey Kluber is going to go ahead and get the start for the Red Sox, not Chris Sale. I got no real beef with that. I mean, Kluber has been consistent like that. I mean, look, he's former Cy Young. He's outstanding. He's been good the last couple of years, so no real problem with that decision. Orioles and the Red Sox. Red Sox, I don't know what's going on. I've been saying that all offseason. Team in transition. I don't know how good the Red Sox are going to be. Actually, on the field, Rafael Devers is the main guy now for sure. I don't know exactly where he hits in the lineup this year. He was hitting like, I think, 3rd or 4th last year. But definitely he's their guy. He's going to get pitched around a lot. Justin Turner is there as well. Orioles, I don't know how much it's hard to analyze just one game and one start, etc. But let's see how they get out the gate here. Let's see if they can actually get a good start to the season as they go ahead and they play a good Red Sox team. Red Sox probably should finish in last. Orioles should finish ahead of them. What we're watching for with the Orioles, Gunnar Henderson, obviously. Gunnar Henderson is going to have to do more this year. He's been really, really good. But can he now put together a whole 162 game schedule like he did at the last year? He's going to slump a bit at times, like all players do. He's going to slump a bit at times. Bat speed is off the charts for a Gunnar Henderson. Can Anthony Santander stay healthy for you? This guy is as good as any outfielder we have. And I think they've been trying him at first, too. I've been seeing that. They've been trying him at first, so he may get even more at-bats playing at first. Also, too, because of the outfield depth. Mountcastle needs to bounce back a little bit. He's been my guy, but not as many home runs last year. They moved the fences back. I think that hurt him a little bit. I'm not so worried about him. He's going to hit 20-plus home runs, for sure. Needs to go ahead. Plate discipline needs to work at. Strikes out an awful lot. Red Sox, Corey Kluber, outstanding pitcher for them. Not a long-term investment, obviously, at his age, but very, very good. Tough outing here on opening day. Nothing better than to watch a game at Fenway Park. Two best parks to ever watch a game at, in my opinion, are Camden Yards and Fenway Park. Great action. We'll see it here. Masson is now, thank God, going to start showing the game at 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock on Thursday. One quick thing. This is a lousy day to have opening day. I don't know who came up. Why are you starting the season at Thursday at 2 o'clock? That's ridiculous. First game in the NFL season, if I were doing it, the Sunday night game. Right? Sunday night game on ESPN. That's your most watched game by a mile. That should be your first game. Welcome back, baseball. Do like the NFL does. Have, the Astros play, whoever. Or two marquee teams. I would have the team that won the World Series in that game. And then you can start everybody else on Monday. Why are you starting on Thursday? I probably the answer you would get is the weather. They're waiting until the weather, it's still a little bit cold. Start the game. Start it on Sunday night. Start it on Monday, and starting a Thursday afternoon. For you, it doesn't make any sense to me. But we're gonna have games here. Orioles and Red Sox 3-game series. I think it's 3 games. Is it 4 games? It's a 3-game series. I know it finishes on Sunday, the series. Yeah, it's a 3-game series. That's what I thought. So it's a 3-game series. So it's an off day, and then you see that after opening off day, and then they go ahead and they start the rest of the season after that. So we're going to go ahead and get that taken care of. We're going to have Orioles and Red Sox. Check that out there as we go ahead and get that squared away. It starts. So we're all excited for the Orioles to go ahead and see how far they can get and build off of that good season they had last year. All right, one more. Let's get it cracking. Get it popping. One more topic. So we're going to do our larger NFL content here with this. Now, we'll go ahead and get to this right here. I'll go ahead and go over this. But NFL tiers. So tiers of teams. Who's good? Who's bad? Who's terrible? We're going to go with rows of teams, groups of teams. Not necessarily ranking them in a specific order here, but who is good in terms of their tiers, who needs work, who's rebuilding, etc. All right. The Ravens one is very interesting. All right. NFL tiers in the NFL. Who is the elite teams? So these are the teams win the Super Bowl level, obviously. Kansas City Chiefs obviously won the Super Bowl last year. They might have gotten better on their offensive line in free agency. We'll see what happens in the draft. I think they're really excited to see Kadarius Toney as the number 1 receiver. We'll see how that works out. They did lose Juju Smith-Schuster, number 1. Well, again, not right, but this is her. So sorry about the misspelling there. San Francisco 49ers. I don't think it matters even. I put in here even if it is Brock Purdy or Trey Lance at the start. It may even be Sam Darnold if neither one of these guys is healthy enough to go. San Fran. Defense, best in the NFL. Best in the NFL, no question about it. Even with the loss of Hart, this is outstanding defense that San Francisco has. Cincinnati, right there. Joe Burrow, maybe the best receiving core in the entire NFL. They're elite. Their defense, I think, is not great, but their offense is really good. See what happens at running back with them. Joe Mixon is still there. We'll see. Well, they go in the draft. They did lose P. Ryan. That'd be the only thing I'm looking at there. Buffalo, they're an elite team. Defense is still outstanding. I think it's the next best next to San Francisco. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, uh, they're going to score a lot of points. I think their run game is still coming along. I like Buffalo here. They're an elite team that can win the Super Bowl. And so can the Eagles. Eagles in the top 5 as well. They made Super Bowl last year. Jalen Hurts, I think, has shown everybody how good he is. They built around him too. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, offensive line, really good. They're going to get Travis Kelce back. Defense, I think, is fantastic. Defensive front is fantastic. Yeah, I like the Eagles. They did actually even get Darius Slay back. They went ahead, even though it looks like he was going to be gone. He's going to be there. Both their corners, Darius Slay and Bradbury, are coming back. Okay, very good. Very, very good. So maybe not at Super Bowl level, but really good. Okay. LA Chargers. They are there. They're Justin Herbert. Can he push you to the big? Can he win? That's the better question. Can he actually win? Can he actually get you to where you want to be? We'll see. I think that's the thing. Everything around them is there. They did keep their receivers. Defense, I think, I think it's set up for them to go ahead and go far. Ravens, they're only here if they keep Lamar. I almost changed, but I said because we still don't know if it's not Lamar, they're in the rebuilding category. That's not they're not here otherwise. I think you have Lamar Jackson, you have a good quarterback there, you have a good running game, and I think your defense is very underrated. I think Roquan made a huge difference on defense. I think that's there. Jacksonville is very good as well. I think they're going to be in contention to win. They're gonna eat good in their division too. Their division is not very good. Calvin Ridley, that move kind of went under the radar. They're going to have a better receiver than they had all last season, and the receiving core actually surprised. But they had Zay Jones, they had Jacksonville. I think this year is going to be really good. Dallas, I think, is really good. I think they're right there. I think Dallas, I think there's much ado about nothing. I think there's so much attention on them when they don't win Super Bowl. Dallas has been really good. They getting into the division. I mean, that's like nothing to sneeze. I mean, I've got no problem with Dallas. Putting the Jets here because they're going to have Aaron Rodgers. I think maybe they're the best team in that division, possibly. So they're definitely there. I think Aaron Rodgers is there. They built the team really well, except they don't have a quarterback, and now they do have Rodgers. That'll get done. It's not official. I didn't hear that official yet, but I think they're about there. Playoff level. So maybe they go to the playoffs here. The Squealers, Pittsburgh Steelers. I think their offense is building. I think a whole year Kenny Pickett is going to be big. I think they should have did that from the start last year, but I think he's definitely developing. And he's got pieces around him. I think that's good. And I don't know how good of a coach on offense Tomlin is, but I know they're going to have good defense. Pittsburgh defense, though, some parts, some guys left. Devin Bush left. Sutton left. We'll see how that goes on defense. Minnesota, I think this is about where they live. I don't think they're Super Bowl level. Cousins, I think, is only going to get you so far. I've seen enough of him. The stats in the regular season probably are going to be good again, but he's not going to get you there because he has everything around him. I can't say anything else at this point. Can they bounce back defensively? That's the thing. If they can get farther, it'll be because of that. Getting the defense squared away. Seattle, yes. I had them at 32 last year to start. Huge surprise. Pete Carroll, team, loved it. Geno Smith couldn't be happier for him. Lots of good young players on that team. Seattle is there as well. Cleveland Browns, they got Deshaun Watson, I think, for a full season. I think they were looking at him starting this year. I think he played a bit last year and knocked the rust off. I don't think they expected much. Now they got a bonus. Full off season. They're looking at it. Go time for them. Cleveland Browns, I think, is there. Also, to maybe with no Lamar in the division, helps them a lot. I think they're probably the biggest beneficiary of not having a Lamar Jackson. Saints at 5. They'd have been lower, but they did get Carr on the team, Derek Carr. So I think that's a big deal. They have a quarterback, best quarterback they've had since Drew Brees. The division is god awful. Outside of it, somebody in that division has got to make the playoffs. I think it's there. Defense isn't bad though. Defense is not bad at all for the Saints. They got a lot of good defensive play. Marshawn Lattimore, etc. Hopeful Miami. I have him back here because I'm not sure Tua is going to play. That's I know I'm not sure this guy is capable of making it through the season if he even starts at the start this year. We'll see. New England Patriots, maybe not. Rumor is they're interested in Lamar. Matt Jones. They did put him with Bill O'Brien instead of Matt Patricia, for God's sake. So that makes a lot of sense. Defensively, I think they are. They did have Devin McCourty retire. They did have Dante Hightower retire. So those are two guys that have been with them for a long time. They seem to find guys to plug in on defense. Not sure. I think both of these teams are behind the Jets with Aaron Rodgers. Las Vegas Raiders. So they did go ahead and sign Jimmy Garoppolo, moving on from Derek Carr. I'm not sure that was a good idea. I'm not sure about the whole McDaniels thing as a coach. He definitely can coach offense. I definitely think and I think Garoppolo makes sense. I always like it when a guy comes in knowing the offense. So Garoppolo could come in working with him in New England, minute one, know exactly what McDaniels wants to do. McDaniels knows him. So you're not even though you change the quarterback, you're not remedial at all there. Can you keep him healthy? Defense is inconsistent for them, considering how many good players they have. That's kind of the thing with me. Maybe not. The Lions. I'm not sure if I should even have them higher. But the Lions, I think Goff having the season he had 2 years in a row, and he's a bit inconsistent. He was really good last year. If he could play as well as he did last season, they definitely can be higher. Again, maybe playoff for the Lions. Giants. I thought they were a bit of a mirage last year. They had a bunch of goofy wins, etc. I do think by the end of the year they did get better. They did get better. I think that's true. I think if they do enough in the draft, I think this is the one team I think the draft can maybe help them because they don't really have receivers, in my opinion. But they did re-sign Daniel Jones, for better or worse. They did put the tag on Saquon Barkley. I think the defensive scheme, Wink, is going to be interesting, as it always is. Defense will be good enough to keep you in games. They're not going to stink on you. I'm not as big on him as a lot of people are, but it'll keep him in games. In this situation, it's better than it's worse. Here are teams don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but there's a little hope. There's a sliver of hope. Packers are moving on from Aaron Rodgers. Here, Jordan Love, I don't know about that. We'll see. If Jordan Love can, and that's the thing that's a little bit of hope. If Jordan Love can become what they think, what they're hoping, yes, they're definitely there. I think around him, there's enough there. I don't think they score enough points. I'm not sure about Love as quarterback. Here's another team not sure about quarterback. Russell Wilson, I thought was awful last year. I thought he was 30th. Yeah, he was god awful. I think he even got a break from me, considering how bad he was. So I think bringing in Sean Payton is the hope that you have there. It'll be a miracle if you can turn him around. Maybe he was just unfocused. Maybe it was something. That's what they're thinking. Bears. Hey, look, great trade they made. They're sticking with Justin Fields. They got DJ Moore. Not bad. I think they're about a year away, though. I think that's going to be hard to go from where they went all the way to the playoffs, especially in that division with Minnesota. It's going to be a bit rough. Rams. Can they bounce back? I think injuries had such a big deal with it. But they're bringing back Stafford. They're bringing back Cooper Kupp. They're bringing back a bunch of guys. See if they can keep Aaron Donald in the building. They did trade Jalen Ramsey. It wouldn't shock me too much if they bounce back. Commanders. Defense is very good. That's the hope. We don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen to quarterback. Apparently, they're serious about starting Sam Howell, so we'll see what happens. Real quick, teams rebuilding. Texans, yeah, you're about a year away. They should get a good quarterback. Colts, unless you can get Lamar, then I think that moves up the charts. But otherwise, I think they're rebuilding. If they get Will Levis and Anthony Richardson, here about a year away. Tennessee Titans, I think, are in that category. Nothing's really happened yet. I think with Henry and those guys, they're shopping them, but I don't think they're not going to win anything next year. Atlanta definitely is. They're starting Desmond Ridder, quarterback. They can't be serious not going after Lamar. That doesn't make any sense. Carolina, they're going to have the number 1 pick. I think it'll be Bryce Young. That's a good move. They did trade DJ Moore. They did go ahead and get Thielen. I don't think they're going to win there, but I think they're building the foundation really good at the start. Good job. Arizona, just waiting on Colin Murray to come back. Colin Murray, I think, is when he gets back, I think that's going to determine a lot. Tampa Bay Bucks, they're going to start Baker Mayfield. I think they're starting over. I think their record might be. I don't think they're 2 team, but 4 or 5, things like that. They're not going to have enough offense to win the game to do anything like that. I don't think they're worried about it. I think they're just waiting to clear the cap space so they can do their full rebuild. Kind of like where the Orioles were a few years ago. We have to be bad to start the rebuild. that's how that works. All right, so we got that in. Our tiers there for the NFL teams, where they are. Ravens grade. There's no way I had them that high if I'd actually completed that yesterday. Because if I'd have known Lamar would definitely have asked for a trade, no way you're that high. You're in the back. Little bit of hope or rebuilding without Lamar if you're going to start Tyler Huntley. So, again, you fans that want him gone, think about that. Think about how you're going to think about that next season. You're in the rebuild. And it's fine if you want to rebuild, by the way. If you really want to come out and say you want to rebuild, I think that could mean the end for Harbaugh. Starting over is starting over. So we really haven't seen that from this franchise really since Ted Marchibroda left. They transitioned from Brian Billick to John Harbaugh, and they basically remained a good team since '99, which is an unusual amount of time of success. So that's what's in store for you, I think, if you want to go ahead and get rid of Harbaugh and get rid of Lamar and do that stuff. So we will go ahead and thank you for watching this week, however platforms that you check us out on. If this content was outstanding for you, like and subscribe to all of our social media platforms. All right. We will talk to you next week on the Ravorisports podcast, the Baltimore Sports Podcast, because Ravorisports is for fans like me. Thank you, and you have a great rest of your week.